Yeah, okay. So my fighter here, and see you soon, man.
I saw the roster you're up against there.
You're live, remember. No, you want to get the microphones in. It was good how it was.
Oh, okay.
Just like that, yeah.
Can you zoom in?
Maybe not. Don't. Yeah, just like that. It's good. Good. Okay. All right. Perfect. Yeah, and hopefully I don't know what happens to the screen, but should be all good.
It looks like we have all the seats taken, is that right? We have 11 of them. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for the interest that you're taking in this municipal election. And what a wonderful turnout we see today. And we just want to welcome you to this all candidates meeting for the municipality of Saanich. Just a few housekeeping comments. There are ushers that have an usher sign on their lapel. And if you need anything, if you have a question about anything, you can contact one of them. They'll be in the back. We do have washrooms that are located in the back corner out this way, just out the foyer and to the left. Also, there is a water fountain in the hallway. Just one bit of instruction when you leave the meeting, as you exit the parking lot, it would be very helpful if everyone could turn right. Otherwise, things get really held up. So, I'm not speaking politically. If everyone could turn right, there will be someone there that will direct you as well. And then if you have brochures and things that have been given to you, please take those with you. That would be very helpful. Well, we acknowledge that the Victoria Church of the Nazarene lies within the territories of the peoples represented by the Songhees, Esquimalt, and Saanich nations. Welcome to this all candidates meeting. We have been in contact. We've reached out to all of our candidates, and they have been given instructions about how this all candidates meeting would be conducted. And we really appreciate their cooperation in this. We want to keep this as much as possible within 2 hours. And so we hope to be ending at 4 o'clock, but don't hold me to that. It all depends on what happens this afternoon. But we are very, very appreciative of our candidates. We have group number 1. This is half of the candidates that will be running for municipal council. And once they have concluded their opening statement, the answer to a question, and a closing statement, we'll have a very brief transitional time when they will exit the platform, and then group 2, the next 11 candidates, will take their position on the platform. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to make an opening statement, and there will be a bell that will ring at 50 seconds. And that is just a warning to conclude your comments. And then at 60 seconds, the bell will ring 3 times. Could we just have a little bit of a demonstration? Did everyone hear that? Okay, there might even be a visual that might accompany that. And then you've all been given a question to answer, and you'll once again have 1 minute. And you'll just exit your seat and come up to a microphone, whichever one you would like to use, and feel free to adjust the microphone to your height. That would be helpful as well. My name is Gary Bennett, and I am the moderator today, and I really appreciate the interest that you've taken in putting your names and your lives out there for all of us, and for your desire to really serve the public interest. And we really appreciate that. And again, I appreciate all of you taking an interest in this meeting this afternoon. I'd like to just first of all introduce very quickly all of the candidates that are on the platform. And I'll just read your name, and if you just wave at the audience and let them know who you are. Trevor Berry, Judy Brownoff, Natalie Chambers, Zach Devries, Sasha Iser, Mark Laren Young, Jordan Mcdougall, Leslie Miller Brooks, Teal, Phelps, Vondroff, Art Pollard, and Rishi Sharma. We'll begin with Rishi. And we'll invite you to make your opening statement.
Hello all, I've just written a little script here. My name is Rishi Sharma, and I'm running for a seat in the Saanich Council Table and CRD. Thank you to the Residents Association for pulling this together. I've been on the Residents Association, this is not easy. I moved to Saanich with my family when I was 4 years old, and I'm now 47 years old. My wife is also from Saanich. I've been blessed with the opportunity to work as an ironworker, a millwright, in the restaurant and hotel sectors, retail sales. I've owned my own business as a certified appliance repair technician and a residential home builder with my family for the past 20 years. I'm currently with the Ministry of Advanced Education, where I've been in the public service for 20 years as well. And I'm working on the labor shortages pan-Canadian intergovernmental relations table right now. I'm trying to find solutions to labor shortages. I'm also just finishing my 2 years at Royal Roads Masters of Arts program, and it's life-changing. I hope to have your vote. I'm humbly here to request your support for the next election. I ran once, I'm running again. Thank you so much.
Candidate is Art Pollard.
Thank you all for coming out this afternoon. It's pretty clear in Quadro we have a very engaged public. My name is Art Pollard. I ran 4 years ago and I'm running again. I'm looking back and I saw something the other day, and it was my motto for my high school in the small town of Neufeld. Non nobis solum, not by ourselves alone. For all the platitudes you hear, for all the big ideas you hear, you have to respect everyone, because being on a council is being part of a team. My 45-year history in this community has demonstrated teamwork through Block Watch, through such varying organizations as sitting on City Hall committees, on the Golf Committee, sitting on the Centennial Committee, which we proudly had a great year. And I'd like to say that please look at everybody's qualifications, their experience, and make a choice. Vote smart, vote Art.
The next candidate, Teal, Phelps, Vondroff.
All right, hello friends, I'm so glad you all made it. I'm Teal Phelps Vondroff. I'm a researcher and community builder. I work as the Director of Research for Oceans Asia. We're a marine conservation organization that helps protect our ocean and fight wildlife crime around the world. And I use my PhD in international politics to do that. But I'm also a community builder, and I'm passionate about placemaking. I'm the guy that helps build and support little free libraries across our community. A couple of weekends ago, we cut the ribbon on the 650th, and I dropped off our 75,000th book. So I'm out in the community working hard to connect people. I want to work on Saanich to use my experience to build more affordable housing, to make our roads safer and more accessible, and to build more connected and sustainable communities. And I'm looking forward to the questions today. You come see me afterwards if you'd like to chat some more. Thank you very much.
Leslie Miller Brooks.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Leslie Miller Brooks. I'm a recently retired occupational therapist with 37 years of experience, so I thought it was time to quit. I've done my thing with that. And I had worked at the Island Hand Therapy Clinic, the burn unit, ICU. I ran my own small business for 16 years, touched on hand orthotics, and I did love it. I'm running today because we're in an environmental emergency, and I'd like for our council to kind of make decisions through that lens. Not kind of, I would like for our council to make decisions through that lens. Not every decision, but most decisions. My dad used to say I was a practical person and I make practical decisions, so I hope you'll give me your vote.
Jordan Mcdougall.
Hello, I'm Jordan Mcdougall, and I'm running for Saanich Council because I'm worried about my future. I grew up here, my parents grew up here, my grandma grew up here, and I don't know whether or not I'm going to be able to stay here in the next 10 to 20 years. I work with the Ministry of Indigenous Services Canada for the past year, and before that, I worked with a number of small businesses, helping them develop, helping them grow, opening new locations, and then before that, I actually opened my own small business. My father opened his own business to help provide for my family, so the second reason I'm really running is because I see my community members, people I care about, people that I've had relationships with, my family's had relationships for a very long time, also worrying about their future. And with that, I hope that you'll consider me for a vote in October 15th.
Mark Aaron Young.
Hi, I'm Mark Aaron Young, and thank you all for being here. What you're likely to discover today is that most of us agree on the key issues facing Saanich and how to approach them. And we all love Saanich. So I thought I'd talk a bit about my background and what that background and approach will bring to Saanich Council. I started working professionally as a journalist when I was 16. I also write books, plays, documentaries, and to write these things, I do homework for a living. I do deep dives into archives and public records, and when I want information, I'll reach out to anyone, anywhere around the world. If you Google me, you'll mostly see I read about endangered southern resident orcas. That's because Google has no memory. I've also written about BC's forests, the climate crisis, HIV/AIDS, BC politics, media, municipal politics, and the Canucks. And once I've done my homework, I share what I've learned without jargon or legalese so anyone can understand it, and I don't do anything halfway. Thank you.
Sasha Izzard.
Hello, my name is Sasha Izard. I have a wife and a 2-year-old daughter, and I worry about the future of Saanich. I have stewarded Gary oak groves for years with a focus on invasive foreign plant species removal, and I have an all-electric power tool landscaping business. A few months ago, I was the only person with a landscaping business to provide testimony to Oak Bay Council about electric equipment. The result that night was a unanimous decision to plan a 3-year phase-out of all gas landscaping equipment there. In comparison, the majority of Saanich Council voted against banning gas leaf blowers, making their statements about climate change all the more hypocritical. We need to protect Gary oaks and more than just name and other local tree species as well. Saanich's lack of protection for mature trees has been more than apparent, and it couldn't be further on display. The chainsawing this week of numerous boulevard trees on Shelburne, including memorial trees for more paving, couldn't be clearer on the subject. Saanich plans to have removed 116 in total along Shelburne. Similarly, the destruction of numerous supposedly protected mature trees, including Gary oaks on nearby Milner Avenue for development, was a horrendous assault on what remains of our local ecosystems. Thank you.
Zach Devries.
Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Zach Devries and I've had the honor of serving you for the past 4 years as a Saanich councillor. My education is a double major in political science and geography, where I focused on political economy and urbanism. I also work full-time at the Ministry of Agriculture and Food as a senior program developer to support the BC food and beverage processing sector and to strengthen our local food systems. I've worked tirelessly to support Council's progress on planning, housing, climate action, the environment, active transportation, and for managing Saanich better as an organization. Councillor Mercer this morning said that I've had the single biggest impact at the council table of any councillor this term, and that my experience in land use planning and transportation policy would be a tremendous asset to the region. The message here is I listen, I learn, I work hard, I research, and I deliver results. I'm asking you today to re-elect me to Saanich Council, and actually this time around, do one better. Send me to the CRD so that we can get Saanich moving forward and the region. Thank you.
Natalie Chambers.
Hello, Saanich residents. Thank you for coming. My name is Natalie Chambers, and I am seeking re-election to Saanich Council and to the CRD Board. I am your 100% not developer-funded councillor for an independent voice for Saanich Council. My husband David and I have been farming in the historic Blenkinsop Valley organically for the last 20 years. We grow a diversity of 108 crops over 12 months. This term, I was particularly pleased about my motion that other councillors did sign on to that made allowance for roadside sales and veggie stands inside the urban containment boundary. I'm encouraging everybody to take a stand and get back to our roots here in Saanich, which are agricultural, and grow a victory garden. Thank you.
Judy Brownoff.
This is the trouble when you're shorter. Hi everyone, I'm Judy Brownoff. I'm so happy to be here. We were asked to tell you about our experience, and I've had a lot of experience in various things. I've owned 2 businesses for 20 years, so I suggest you go to my website, judybrownoff.ca. I'm running for Saanich Council again because there's much to do. I was very helpful and influential when we were developing the Age-Friendly Communities Network. We did a lot of work with UVIC, who did all the interviews with caregivers and seniors, and Saanich has 8 areas of concern, and we've been working on different standards, different crosswalk standards, tactile design, countdown ped signals, and so much more. So Saanich needs to continue to be an age-friendly community. Demographics are changing all over the world, even in Saanich. So I hope I can get your support on October 15th. Thank you very much.
Trevor Berry.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the organizers for putting this together. My name is Trevor Barry. I have the purple, yellow, and green brochures, and you may have heard me playing saxophone on your way in tonight. It's so exciting to be here because this is the largest ACM, and it was the largest one 4 years ago when I ran it. It's really nostalgic, and it feels great to be here again. And it also feels good because this is in North Quadra, where I've been on the Community Association Board for 10 years and served as the elected president this past year. I have 2 young children in my life, and I'm concerned about the future of Saanich and the future of the world, frankly, for them, as well as bringing a parenting perspective to the council chamber. I'm also running for the CRD board, and I mention that because I've studied urbanism and sustainable regional planning at the SFU City program. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself towards the end, but thank you again for coming, and Trevor Barry on the top of the ballot.
Several days ago, we reached out to all of the candidates and provided them with this question. And so I'm going to ask you that each candidate will be asked the identical question, which we hope will reveal their specific priority in serving our municipality. And so the question is, what is the #1 area where you would seek an increase in funding, and how would you reallocate existing funding to accommodate that? And we'll start, if I could have the list of candidates once again. I will start with Mark Larian.
So I'd like to talk about a fascinating new approach to calculating budgets and assessing what's valuable. In BC, we love our trees, water, animals, orcas, but I'm not sure we value them. We put them at risk and all the time, and we carry that risk, not the industries threatening them. That's why I'd like to see Saanich look at the type of municipal natural assets management program that was pioneered in Gibson's, where they put a value on their aquifer, which provides the cleanest drinking water in BC. The basic idea, a community puts a price on natural assets like creeks, watersheds, ALR land, Gary Oak Meadows, because they provide us with the same vital services equivalent to what we can get from engineered assets, and they provide so much more. Nearly 100 communities across Canada are now taking or exploring this approach. I'd like Saanich to explore this program because it makes environmental sense and financial sense. Thank you.
Let's keep the question on the board. Sasha Iser, you'd answer the same question. What is the number one area where you would seek an increase in funding, and how would you reallocate existing funding to accommodate that?
Ecological preservation. Upon being elected, the majority of the current council voted not only for Saanich to join a key development lobby, the UDI as a paying member, but to give themselves an annual allowance of $500 each from you, the taxpayer, to have themselves educated, potentially at the UDI and the Chamber of Commerce, and for attending UDI luncheons. Catherine Whitworth calculated the annual voted on membership costs along with the budget for professional development to be close to $10,000. I suggest that money would be much better spent having the council educate on the importance of Garry Oaks as a critical keystone species and on the importance of ecological preservation and the dangers posed by unchecked development to local ecosystems. The address provided for the local UDI branch at the BC Lobbyist Registry is that of a leader at Abstract Developments. Recently, Council voted 7-2 to approve a 25-unit abstract development that would lead to the destruction of 4 mature Garry Oaks. According to the press, an abstract representative said that staff did not consider Garry Oaks to be a sensitive ecosystem. Numerous species, including owls, squirrels, raccoons, insects, birds, many unique pollinators, and flora, are dependent on Garry Oaks for survival. Thank you.
This is a very appreciative audience, as we can tell by the applause after each comment. So I'm going to make a suggestion that we ask the audience to keep the applause to the end. That'll save us a little bit of time, and we'll just assume that you're appreciative. Okay? So the next candidate, Zach Devries.
We all share a lot of common concerns for the community, and particularly in terms of the welfare of future generations. In particular, these are climate change and how this should influence every decision that we make as a council, as well as the rising cost of living, and how it's making it difficult for people with low incomes and increasingly people with middle incomes and higher to exist, much less thrive in Saanich. And so when it comes to my approach to budgeting, we both need to increase revenue by adding the new housing that people need across the income spectrum, as well as economic development. Of course, we need to manage costs, and I think one of the best ways to do this is through IT, where we can leverage technology for organizational efficiencies. The other important thing is we must manage risk. Every company going through COVID experienced this. Climate change, housing unaffordability, and other complex issues are threatening the livability, sustainability, and resilience of Saanich. Addressing these risks and complex issues comes at a cost, and this needs to be recognized because our budgets need to support our aspirations as a community. Thank you.
Natalie Chambers.
Hello there. Usually I talk about the agricultural land reserve, but today I'm going to go on the topic of industrial land reserves. If I could find one project, it would be to incentivize the building of parkades in our precious little zoned industrial land. Whether it is residential neighborhoods or rural Saanich, I hear and see parking problems of residential, recreational, commercial, and industrial buildings, or vehicles, pardon me. We wish to build all these new homes and dream everyone will walk and ride bikes. However, we're still requiring a little more than 0.6 of a parking lot, and we want to start new businesses, and we want to start a local economy with places for people to park their vehicles properly. So where would we get money like this? Well, perhaps if we had not delayed the developer cost charges in Saanich, $2 million could have been used. And instead, we as taxpayers are now paying $100,000 a year to make up for it.
Judy Brownoff.
We were asked what would we invest more money in. I believe that we're in charge of protecting the people's assets. So the investment I would be making is in our facilities. We have a facilities master plan, and we also are in the process of developing our asset management plan, which does include environment stuff. And so I would invest in that. For me, it's about, I've been in business 20 years. I know planning is key. None of us want expensive surprises, at least with things we can control. COVID, on the other hand, was an unexpected surprise and had financial and social consequences. How will we fund it? Reserve funds plus grants. Did you know we got $4 million from the federal government to do a retrofit of mechanical upgrade at Commonwealth Place, not only reducing GHGs by 90%, but hopefully operating costs. We have to keep on top of grants and not raise reserve funds.
Trevor Berry.
Hi folks, I'm Trevor Berry, top of your ballot. Where I would like to see more funding go into is into bylaw compliance, and I want to unpack that a little bit for you. We have been told this week that the province is going to move in the direction of far more decentralized development density. With that will come parking demands. We need to start putting a price on parking, and we need to give the legacy residents parking permits to use street parking, and we need to charge for parking in every other case, including residents who are moving into low-carb lifestyle places. This will require our bylaw officers to go get compliance. However, where is the revenue going to come from? Where is the payment going to come from for this investment? Through the revenue of making money off of our rights-of-way, where we have the ability to charge for parking. And this will make all of the transitions in our neighborhoods a lot smoother.
Jordan Mcdougall.
Hello, Jordan Mcdougall, somewhere below Trevor Barry. I think that we need to focus our investment in Saanich and our tree canopies and our natural assets, because that's really what's going to protect us in the coming years from climate change. We saw the heat dome. We saw massive flooding this year. And the one thing that can protect us is our natural ecosystems. Our future is physically tied to these attributes of our planet. So making sure that we're planting enough trees, making sure that we're paying attention to how we're using our green spaces in our neighborhood. And in terms of funding, we need to make sure that we're focusing on our traditional services coming into a recession, looking at inflation, looking at our interest rates. And we have to be realistic that we need to focus on these core responsibilities of the municipal government and not really looking at these discretionary attributes that maybe aren't as important, like social media and golf courses. Thank you.
Leslie Miller Brooks.
So I believe every community needs a fire plan. And you'll hear me talk about fire a little bit because I think we're at risk. South Vancouver Island is at risk. Our droughts are getting longer, and I think if you live like me on Mount Ptolemy, there's only one road out, and there are 44 homes. So I'd like a fire chief to give me a plan, what I should do, where I should meet my family members. Should I go to Willows Beach? Should I go to Hillside Mall? And I think each community should have a plan like that in place, and I'd use money to help that happen. The other thing is we've been having this excessive heat. And there are quite a few people who don't have air conditioning, and I think we need to either have an air conditioning loan program where people can take them out like a library if they're vulnerable, or maybe we defray some of the costs so that people can get room air conditioners. Thank you very much.
Teal, Phelps, Vondroff.
Well, I don't know about you, but I don't have a family doctor. And I know that doctors aren't necessarily the jurisdiction of municipalities, so I want to talk a bit about that and my vision for Saanich. Because there's two levers that I want to pull to help get more people family doctors. The first is creating affordable commercial space. We're talking about affordable housing a lot. I love that as well. But we don't talk about affordable commercial space. My vision for Saanich has density in core areas and a lot of mixed use along the major corridors, which is going to create a lot of affordable commercial space. And the second thing we do to welcome doctors into our community is we give them permissive tax exemptions, and this is how I'm going to pay for that. Currently, Saanich gave out about $3 million in permissive tax exemptions. These go to organizations that provide a benefit to the community. But Saanich doesn't have a benefits test to actually evaluate if these groups are providing a benefit to the community. Many of them are, not all of them are. I will create a benefits test, and then I will give permissive tax exemptions to make our doctors come to our community so more people can get family doctors.
Art Pollard.
Public safety. We all talk about it, but what do we do about it? I've had 25 years experience working with the Block Watch program. Neighbors helping neighbors, building community, making you feel safe in your neighborhood by having others look out for you. Private safety, it's getting dangerous out there. We hear of random violence, we hear of people's homes being broken into, we had the tragedy on Shelburne Street. I would put more money into public safety and private safety. And my plan would be to dovetail the provincial emergency program, which they've put on many wonderful seminars, with the Block Watch program. Share that resources and help keep Saanich more protected. And as far as reallocating funds, we'd have to again look at the revenue side. Let's expand Saanich, make it more business friendly.
Rishi Sharma.
Thank you. I got this question a week ago and I've been thinking about it. And I think before we look at how we're going to spend money, let's look at how we can find some efficiencies. I'd like to sit with staff to say where we can find those dollars first, and then we can actually have a proper, thoughtful process on where we want to spend those dollars. If there is money to be spent, I'd like to spend it on road safety. I began with the Gordon Head Residents Association years ago because of a tragedy that happened on Ash Road where I live. I'd like to get some money towards road safety, towards sidewalks, toward infrastructure, so we can have that walkable, clean, and safe community. And so that's where I'll put my priorities, if we can find money through working with staff and finding these efficiencies.
This concludes the answers to the question, and now we'll go to closing statements, and we'll start with Trevor Barry.
I'm Trevor Barry. I'm on the top of your ballot, and I'm on the top of this list right now, and everyone's laughing at me because I was not ready for this. So I told you a little bit about myself earlier. I work for the province of BC as a policy analyst and economic advisor on climate and transportation issues. I study with the SFU City program. I may have mentioned that earlier. If I get elected, I have it worked out where I can work half-time hours because I still have a family that I'm raising. If I make it to the CRD board, I'll be able to take time off entirely in order to serve the people because that will be my top priority. And I'll go back to my career later. In the meantime, I want to let you know that I've had a great second time running a campaign for Saanich Council. I really showed up this year. It's been fun. It's been fantastic. We've been running events. I've had people and we've had food and conversations. And for those of you who already have my invitation out there, this Saturday at 10:30 a.m. at Gailey Farms, bring the little ones. We're going to have pumpkins and juice boxes and train rides, and it's going to be a good time. Vote Trevor.
Judy Brownoff.
I'm Judy Brownoff, and I would ask you to go to my website, judybrownoff.ca, where you can see a whole raft of information I have about what I'm passionate about, my experience. Why am I running for Saanich Council again? I believe that there are far more important things to get done in this next session. We need to see how we can get out of COVID. We need to talk to our business communities. We obviously need to talk with doctors. But I think overall it's about continuing to move Saanich forward. I want to see affordable, accessible, and sustainable housing. And at the CRD really needs to get back to looking at a circular economy. We've got too much waste going to Heartland. We don't want to spend more money on landfilling. So for me, I ask for you to vote for Judy Brownoff, for Saanich Council, and CRD again. Thank you.
Natalie Chambers.
Hi there. In closing, I'm Natalie Chambers, and I'm seeking your vote for re-election to Saanich Council and the CRD. I am very pleased with the way I've adjudicated development permits this year, and let me explain, because it's got me judged in the city. This term, we have accelerated development. We've given opportunities to developers, DCC, delay, CACs, interim, and we have not accelerated public amenities at the same time. So we know the difference in land cost between our houses from the 80s till now. I have ensured that those public amenities go back to the people and not private interests. This term, my council changed the word affordable to attainable. This term, I learned to say no. When an application didn't have the right public amenities, I said no. I'm being judged by Homes for Living for saying no, for not having the proper public amenities. This is not okay.
Devries.
You're hearing a lot of shared goals here around making Saanich more livable, more sustainable, more inclusive, and more resilient. One of the hardest things I found to do at the council table is to help our community move from vision to reality. On the one hand, we have our vision for the community and our aspirations. They're embodied in our official community plan and other documents. On the other hand, we have the way that our existing policies play out in complex contexts. On the ground today, when vision and reality and our aspirations aren't necessarily being met and aligned, it requires us to revisit, to reassess, and to rethink our approach, to remain focused on outcomes and results, and to really focus on how to deliver the goods for you and your families in the next generation. This is an extraordinarily difficult task. It requires a lot of work. I've got the skill set to do it, and I've shown my efficacy the past 4 years. On October 15th, please re-elect me to Saanich Council so that we can continue our work together. But please do one better. Send me to the CRD. Let's keep Saanich moving forward, and let's get the region on track. Thank you.
Sasha Izard.
Saanich and the local media have become far too embedded with the development lobby. This term, Saanich became a paying member of the Urban Development Institute's Capital Region branch, a key lobby for development in the CRD. That a level of government has now become a member of the development lobby, among whose function is to lobby the government, is a clear full-circle conflict of interest. Further, the UDI has been consulted as a stakeholder on development in local communities by Saanich. Here is a quote from a document to Saanich. UDI recognizes that planning on a neighborhood level through local area planning can be very divisive. The fracturing of the community for planning purposes allows entrenched interest in the neighborhood to dilute the planning process. End quote. That your tax dollars are going to the development lobby through Saanich through federal funding is a clear affront to yourselves and to democracy. If elected, I will put forward a motion that Saanich immediately withdraw its membership from the Urban Development Institute. Thank you.
Mark Liren Young.
When I called to RSCP to this event, I was delighted that one of the organizers was a longtime counselor. So I asked Life Workland what the most challenging aspect of the job was. He gave me a similar answer to what I've heard from friends who have served on councils throughout BC, knowing that whatever you do, somebody will be disappointed. That's why I will always want to meet with people who will be affected by decisions before I cast my vote. I will always do my homework. And when I make a decision, I will always be willing to explain why. I've been endorsed by Saanich Eco Advocates, Victoria Labour Council, and the BCGU, despite the fact the union I'm most active with is the Writers Guild of Canada. I've also got personal endorsements from local business leaders, community leaders, journalists, and artists. You can check those on my website. But the only endorsement I really need is from you on October 15th. I will listen to you. I will also listen to experts from our home, our province, and around the world. Please say one vote for Mark Letterman.
Jordan Mcdougall.
JordanMcDougall.com. That's not my name, that's my website, and I hope you check it out after this. I am obviously the youngest candidate here, which means I have specific interest in creating affordable housing that I could possibly move into or raise a family in. And I know that shaping that housing that is going to be built is important to reflect what the community actually needs. So creating those processes that actually incentivize development that we want, not development that we don't need. And that reflects just as much on the older generation as the younger generation. I think that growing up here, I care a lot about the people that live up and down these roads that I've talked to, and I care about my peers that are growing up here. I want to help us shape a Saanich that takes care of each other, that's green, that has to rally for those mental health supports that we desperately need, and create a society that we can actually be proud of leaving behind for future generations. Thank you.
Leslie Miller Brooks.
Hi. You'll find me at saanich.ca under the All Candidates Guide. I was a founding member of the Cambosan Community Association back in the early 1990s, mid 1990s. and participated for quite a while till my child got very involved in school. Last year, I would say my proudest moment was having my Environmental Bill of Rights petition put before the legislature by Adam Olson in November. So you can see my concern is really about the environment, and every decision I would make on council, or most of them again, would be made through that lens to see what we could do for ourselves. Anyway, thank you very much.
Teal, Phelps, Vondroff.
So I've recently tried to combine my passion for placemaking and road safety, and we installed a road mural up on Falaise Crescent. Go check it out, it looks fantastic. It combines community building, public art, and road safety. Road murals slow cars down by usually about 5 kilometers an hour. But one of the lessons I took away from this project was that Saanich needs to invest more in building community. It took us 3.5 years to get approval for that project. I'm very grateful for the funding we did get, but it took too long. I would like to hire a social planner, someone who, like me, wakes up every morning and says, how can we build community in Saanich? How can we connect people? It's been a long, lonely, isolated pandemic. We need community more than ever. That's something I want to work on council. And I also want to work on ensuring that we have affordable housing, taking my experience and expertise in environment in protecting and connecting our communities, and making sure our roads are more safe and accessible. Please learn more about me at teal.ca, and thank you all so much for coming out, and to our organizers.
Art Pollard.
Ladies and gentlemen, my passion is community service. Over the last 45 years, I've done it for a lot of organizations. And the reason why I've done it is because I had a great father and a great mother who also believed in community service. It doesn't matter if it's helping the Block Watch program, helping Special Olympics, helping the UVic Alumni Association for 6 years, serving on the UVic Board of Directors 30-odd years ago. It's all about people. It's about helping them and being part of a team. I could talk about other things. I could talk about my current job. After a 32-year career of crossing the Sargasso Sea 20,000 times, I retired in 2018. But I was lonely. It was a pandemic. I didn't see friends. I didn't see family for long periods of time. And I was cajoled to go back and help and join the labor force. Part-time job, but helping the labor force. It wasn't necessary, but it was needed. Thank you.
Rishi Sharma.
So I introed with some work experience. I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal experience and who I am. When I was 4 years old, my family moved to Saanich. I'm told I spent my days at the bottom of my driveway introducing myself to those who walk by because I'm community driven. In grade 7, I was honored with the school citizenship award. In middle school, I was student council vice president. At 15, I would take the bus downtown to volunteer at the Folk Fest daily, and I was given a gold watch for my volunteerism. In high school, I took a bit of a different path, and I won the award for best biceps. Still working on those. I volunteered for my church and public servant for over 20 years. I coached the first Indo-Canadian women's soccer team in Saanich. I still help coach my daughter now. I've been trained by the BC Lions in the Be More Than a Bystander program, an anti-bullying program, and I offer that to schools and businesses. I was a director of the Gordon Head Residents Association. I'm a director for Minerva BC, a women's advocacy association. I'm humbly here to ask for your support and for your vote for Saanich Council and CRD. Thank you so much.
Let's express our collective appreciation for these 11 I'll ask these 11 candidates to exit the platform, and then we'll ask the Group 2, and we'll put the Group 2 names on the screen, and then you'll come up onto the platform. And if the audience would like to just take a quick break here, not leave your seats, but if you'd like to just stand and stretch your legs, feel free to do so, and we'll reconvene in 1 minute. Okay, please take your seats. We're going to continue. I'm going to introduce these 11 candidates to you, and if the candidates would just wait as I mention your name, please. Susan Bryce, Kathleen Burton, Bianca Chu, Karen Harper, Basil Langevin, Vernon Lord, not here. Gregory Matt. Did I get your name correctly? Matty? Matty? That's what you prefer. Mark Neufeld, Colin Plant, Jordan Reichert, and Nina Westhaver. I'm going to give you an opportunity to make an opening statement. Once again, you have 1 minute, and the bell will ring at 50 seconds, just letting you know that you have 10 seconds remaining. And we will start our opening remarks with Vernon Lord. Give him 1 minute anyway. No. Basil Langevin.
Good afternoon. I'm Basil Langevin. This election is about our shared future. It's about building homes that let families stay here in Saanich. It's about making our neighborhoods more accessible, more walkable. It's about protecting our environment and building new parks. In the face of climate change and housing shortages, it's easy to worry about what lies ahead. But I'm running because I believe a better future is possible. When we take the time to collaborate, to look out for each other, and to listen, we can build a better future together. Thank you.
Karen Harper.
Good afternoon. I am Karen Harper, and it has been my honor to serve on Saanich Council over the previous 5 years. And I am seeking another term so that I can work on some outstanding work in the areas of housing, environmental diversity, and fiscal accountability, because there is still so much work to do in these areas. My vision for Saanich is simply that it be a sustainable and vibrant community where your children and grandchildren can afford to live and work. And this will require an increase in density, but the good news about increasing density is that, in fact, good housing policy, which I believe we have, is in fact good climate policy. Good housing policy means that you put that additional density in the right places, and you save green spaces, and you increase your tax base. Please vote for me on October 15th to help us get there. Thank you very much.
Bianca Chu.
That's okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with all of us.
My name is Bianca Chu, and I'm a new first-time candidate, and I'm so excited to be here. I believe in making communities more sustainable, more inclusive, and also keeping our communities vibrant. My background is in a lot of not-for-profit support. I've also worked at the University of Victoria for over a decade, supporting our alumni, supporting our students, creating events where more people can participate. I also currently work for the provincial government as a public servant for the Ministry of Jobs, Economic Recovery and Innovation, and I also love volunteering. I've really embraced that from my family, and they've always taught me to, as you work provincially, nationally, internationally, make sure that you are thinking globally, acting locally. I'm Bianca Chu at biancachu.com, and looking forward to talking to you.
Kathleen Burton.
I do look short.
It's okay, it's good. Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kathleen Burton. Please visit my website, kathleenburton.ca. I ran for council in the last election, and I missed it just by a smidge, or by that much, as Getzmann would say. I'm running again because I believe in Saanich. I live here, and I want Saanich to be accessible for myself, for my family, and for each of you and your families. I work at Community Options for Children and Families. We serve developmentally disabled individuals. I'm there part-time. You may remember me as the Executive Director at Swan Lake Christmas Hill Nature Sanctuary. Just recently, as a volunteer project throughout COVID, I released the Greater Victoria Naturehood Map to get each of you outside and exploring and spending time in nature during a time where we're confined inside. I ask for you to vote for me, for CRD, and for Saanich Council. Thank you so much.
Susan Bryce.
Good afternoon, friends, neighbors, members of the community. I want to thank the Church of the Nazarene for bringing us all together. This has become a tradition to have a daytime all candidates meeting, and it's obviously one that the community appreciates. I have been your Saanich Councillor and CRD Director over this past term, and I'm asking for your continued support. For you, in this role, I've also had the opportunity to chair the Victoria Regional Transit Commission, an incredibly important part of our decision-making in this day and age as we talk about densification and as we talk about climate change. Public transit is a critical component of that. I enjoy that work. I enjoy the work as well at the CRD. You know you can count on me. When people come and say hi, they say, we know what you stand for and we support it. Thank you, Susan Bryce.
Gregory Mattee.
Let me start by just thanking everyone for attending, as well as those who are watching vicariously. This shows a tremendous and very healthy democracy, and I commend all of you for showing interest in what's going on because it's difficult with 22 candidates. The key election issues, I believe, are going to come down to experience, commitment, and value for your tax dollars. My leadership in the military is enhanced by executive assignments in the federal public service and nonprofit sectors. Being retired, I'll be able to commit myself fully to serving you and the CRD. With a PhD in public policy, I will achieve efficient yet effective results for your tax dollars. Ultimately, I hope to restore dignity to politics and respect for the political offices that we hold. Thank you.
Mark Neufeld.
I have to tell you, I feel pretty comfortable here because I come from 7 generations of Mennonites. If you know anything about Mennonites, they're excellent farmers, except for my 7 generations. We did the second best thing. We were teachers or preachers, literally for 7 generations. And if my 13-year-old continues the way he is, he's going to be a teacher too. I've taught in this community for 30 years, and I've loved every minute of it. There's an excellent chance I taught somebody that you know or coached somebody that you know. I taught Leif Bergen's grandson. Yes, I have been around for a long time. I have an Institute for Global Solutions that we've been running for over 10 years. We do solutions for a living. We inspire our young people to look at what's next, but I'm at the perfect age of 56, which means I'm halfway in between being able to remember great things about the past, and I'm smart enough to know what's coming in the future. Mark Neufeld, thank you.
Nina Westaver.
Are we allowed to take it off? Are we okay to take it off? I'm not going to sing to you. My name is Nina Westaver, and I want to begin by saying thank you for taking time out of your busy lives to be here today. I was born and raised in Saanich, and my husband and I of 30 years have raised our 4 boys here. Saanich is my home. I've worked for the district in Saanich Parks, Recreation, and Community Services for 35 years. The last 15 years, I have managed the portfolio of financial assistance, helping those individuals and families and newcomers to our community access recreation. I have 2 successful businesses, Power West Athletics and Soul Sisters Victoria. I know how to be fiscally responsible. I know and I have proven to be impactful in my community as I am an active volunteer, and I have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars to support people that need support and for places that need attention. If on council, I will be hardworking, I'll be compassionate, I will be honored to serve each of you. Thank you for being here.
Jordan Reichert.
Hello, my name is Jordan Reichert, and I'm born and raised in Victoria. In fact, I spent a lot of my youth growing up just over on Tuxedo Drive among the Gary Oaks there. It's really nice to be back in the neighborhood. I have spent the last 15 years working in healthcare, in mental health and addictions around health, caring for some of the most vulnerable in our community. For the past 7 years, I've also worked as a wildlife and environmental conservationist. I've spent a major part of my professional career caring for people and nature. And that's what I want to bring to Saanich Council, an ethic of care that doesn't see people as separate from our ecosystem. Every decision we make as a council must be done through an ecocentric lens. We have to recognize whether it's housing, whether it's transportation, or anything else, there is no planet B, and we need to work with the environment, not against it. Thank you.
Colin Plan.
Thank you. I'd like to start by acknowledging today feels a little bit like speed dating, because you're hearing a minute from us and you're supposed to then commit to us for the next 4 years. But I want you to know I'm a very faithful husband, and I'm asking for your vote to be returned to the Saanich Council and to the CRD board. Saanich's motto in Latin is Populo Serviendo. And some of you probably took Latin and know that that stands for serving the people. It's how I approach my role as a Saanich councillor. I'm in it to serve. I am not in it to pad my career. I'm a proud high school teacher that works with children to make a better future. As a councillor, I like working with my colleagues. The best thing that can happen is to make an agreement with my colleagues that we can all move forward. Please consider me as a council and CRD candidate on October 15th.
We'll now proceed with the answer to our question. And once again, we'll put the question on the screen. What is the number one area where you would seek an increase in funding, and how would you reallocate existing funding to accommodate that? And we will start with Nina Westaver.
Thank you. My number one priority will be safety. Safety is aligned with the District of Saanich's core competencies. Number one priority, safety. It's also part of our active transportation plan. We need to look at how we can safely get around our community. This means improving our sidewalks, our crosswalks, and our trail system. We can work within the resources of the departments that we have in the District of Saanich to help us to accomplish this when we work together. I wouldn't look at reallocating funds. I would look at celebrating how other departments are saving funds and generating revenue, such as our sustainability department. And when it comes to revenue, our recreational system is providing recreational dollars. In this case, we'll be able to increase our safety precautions by making sure all of us can travel from point A to point B. So please, when you consider your safe travel routes, think about how important it is that you and I can get to where we're going safely, and our children. Thank you.
Jordan Reichert.
For me, the priority for us is ensuring that we are prepared for what the climate crisis is going to bring us. We have to be not only prepared, we have to have a resilient environment and a healthy environment. Because, just like when the pandemic happened, what was the thing that kept us physically and psychologically well? Nature. Being able to go outside, walk around. I meet people all the time who are still having group gatherings outside from the pandemic, because that is where they could meet and that's where they could come together. And having a healthy environment, a safe environment, one that is prepared to deal with the impending climate struggles we might face is essential. I'm going to pay for it by making sure that Saanich has greater efficiencies in everything we do, including our technological infrastructure. Thank you.
Colin Play.
I'm just going to switch it up so I perhaps don't ignore one side of the auditorium. This is not going to be a slight to any of my other council colleagues. We were given this question in advance, and I think it's really important if you're invited to an event, you answer the question. And so here's my answer to the question. If I had the opportunity to increase some spending, you know where it would be? It would actually be in rebates. Rebates for homeowners and people who live in multifamily buildings so that they can make the changes needed to their homes to prepare for what's coming with climate change. Those dollars in rebates would go back to you. Now, how would you pay for it, Colin? Sounds great. So, here's some notes. I've been thinking about this for 3 days. Number one, we need to consider extending the lifetime replacement on some of our assets, such as vehicles. Electrify our fleet and consider one regional fire department.
Mark Neufeld.
Bear with me. I think we need to start making long-term decisions again. And by that I mean long-term solutions. I benefited from remarkable parents who made long-term decisions so that my life could be better. And I'm already seeing how my grandsons would be affected by the decisions that my parents have made. I think when we make long-term decisions and we go methodically through what we want to be and work backwards to how to achieve it, we will save money. I'll give you a quick example. When we move around in walkable communities, we are healthier. And we'll save money on our personal costs because we get to deal with the mental health aspects of knowing our community, of knowing our neighbors. There are so many challenges our young people are facing, but I have to tell you, they're prepared for this. They're smart, and they understand what's coming and how to get a beautiful future for themselves. Thank you.
Gregory Metti.
I'm going to take a contrarian view. I don't see the need to raise taxes, other than for the cost of inflation. In fact, I think that what we need to do is have a deep dive look at how we're doing business as a council, and more effectively, how we're doing it as the services that are provided to you by Saanich staff. Because I detect a tremendous inefficiency and also a misappropriation of priorities. While it's great to build bike lanes to save the planet, it's actually creating a lot more disconcertion than people understand. I think that we need to redirect the priorities to the basic services that you deserve and that you pay for, whether it's removing invasive species in the parks, whether it's cutting back on bushes that are overgrowing on sidewalks, or installing new lit crosswalks in dangerous areas. Thank you.
Basil Langevin.
We need to ensure that young families can continue to afford to live in our neighborhoods, that seniors have options to age in place, and that professionals like nurses and doctors have a bright future in our community. To do this, we need to fix our housing problem. And so my key priority is making strategic investments, like expediting Saanich's housing strategy so that we can build more homes. Now the great thing is, building more homes for families means increased tax revenue to Saanich. So investing in housing doesn't mean cutting away other budget items. It actually results in more resources for our parks, for our amenities, and green spaces, and what makes Saanich a truly special place. Thank you.
Karen Harper.
I'm taking a slightly different point of view. We've had some very good ideas here, many of which I agree with, but fundamentally for us to accelerate any of the programs that we have in Saanich, we have some even more fundamental problems that we need to address, and that is our IT system. We deal with everything manually. Our staff are not efficient. If we want to accelerate housing, and I do, we need a planning department that can, in fact, process things efficiently and effectively, and we've had multiple reports that talk about this. How would I pay for the acceleration of IT? I would take a deep dive into our capital budget and take a look at what are the somewhat nice-to-haves as opposed to the must-haves over the next year or two. Because by doing this and increasing our IT, we will in fact be able to accelerate many of the things that you've heard about today in an effective way. But until we do that, not so much. So that's what I would do.
Bianca Chu.
I think this question has been a really interesting one. So this week I've been taking a look at what people have done for the 2022 budget. And as somebody who has lived in Saanich in almost 6 rentals at this point, I am encouraged to see what council has already been doing. There is a lot of great work that has been done. There is increase in affordable housing, trying to look into solution. There is increase in looking at how we can better protect our climate and environment. There is one area that I am very curious to look more into, though, is community well-being. The last 2 years have been hard on everybody, and I think making sure that our community is taken care of and making sure that those services, and how do we optimize them? For me, accessibility is a key priority. My family, actually, when we first came, we actually were benefits of the programs that we have been putting out. So I would like to increase those, diversify our funds, but make people, planet, profit a triple mandate. Thank you.
Kathleen Burton.
This question is important, so if you forgive me, I'm going to look at notes now and then. So I'd like to see an increase in our land acquisition and also some reallocation of current lands that we have within Saanich. I want to do this for 3 purposes. To work with community partners, we can see an increase with housing, where Saanich can offer both affordable rental housing for people who have low to moderate incomes and subsidized housing. Do this through Saanich itself, or partnering through the CRD, or with other nonprofit groups. I'd like to see a preservation of urban green space, because as we densify within Saanich, people are going to need more green space for their mental health and well-being, for themselves, for their families, for their pets. And also I'd like to see if we have an interest, a Saanich Wellness Center, something similar to the Songhees Wellness Center over in Esquimalt, partnering with First Nations. I see a benefit in narrowing the gap between business and residential property taxes. I see a change ahead where commercial real estate is developed, and I would look to reallocate existing community and unity funds and encourage more developer funding to support this work.
Susan Bryce.
So the organizers very cleverly worded this question, and the key element is reallocate existing funding. Knowing that at our high strategic level, affordable housing, transportation, and the environment are also interlinked, The risk is you take money from one area, you impact the other negatively. So I decided to go straight to my pet projects. I support transit. I think we should put more money into more transit infrastructure, better shelters, more seating. We can't rely on this person who's putting out those plastic chairs all over the municipality. And where would I get the money? Well, linking using better transit and reducing the use of individual cars, I would take any of the funds that we get from parking fines and redirect that to infrastructure for transit.
We're going to now move to our closing statements, and once again, each candidate will have 1 minute to bring their closing statement, and we will begin with Susan Bryce.
I'm on a roll. Once again, I'd like to thank the organizers for this meeting. We're coming down to decision time. You've seen amazing people. I've been just so impressed with all of the candidates. But you've got to make some decisions. So I say, why me? I ask you to consider. I've demonstrated that I respect your challenges as a taxpayer. I'm willing to look at new ideas. I'm accessible to you throughout the term. My style is consensus building, and you know I have your best interests at heart. I ask for your vote for Saanich Council and the CRD so that I can continue to represent you in all the decisions that will be made over the next 4 years at the council table that will directly affect you.
Kathleen Burton.
Nope. Okay, Tippy Toes it is. So thank you again for coming today. I am running for Saanich Council and for the CRD. I have worked with the Saanich Police Department for 7 years. You may have seen me out at community events with a big, tall, furry mascot dog. I give back to the community. I enjoy giving back to the community, and I'd very much be honored to give back to the community by sitting on council and sitting to the CRD. And with your vote on October 15th, I hope to be able to do that. Thank you very much.
Bianca Chu.
Hi there, before I forget, for the visual learners, I'm at biancachu.com. I really invite you to come check it out to learn more about me. Thank you so much for welcoming me into this church as well. It's been an honor and a privilege to stand here in front of all of you. For me, what you need to know, I think, is approach. I believe in expert-informed decisions as well as consulting with real lived experiences. I believe in diversification that includes different backgrounds, different businesses, different housing, and really making sure that different voices are included to make sure that people are accessing, people are participating, and I want to bring that to the council. I also want to let you know that I am blanking, but no, I wanted to tell you I really care about people because, and therefore you could say that a vote for Chu is a vote for you. Thank you.
Karen Harper.
Thank you again for coming out this afternoon. I would encourage you to check out my platform at karen-harper.ca for those of you who want to know the nuances. And basically, I'm very passionate about housing, environmental biodiversity, and fiscal responsibility. And I want to spend a few minutes about my background relating to the fiscal responsibility part of things, so you understand better where I'm coming from and why I am actually somewhat qualified in this area. All of my life, actually, from the time I was a small child, I would always have 5-year plans and work these things out. But every job I've ever had, and particularly in the last 20 years, I have been working towards creating great efficiencies in organizations so that they provide the services that you need, the services you've always had, but provide them in a more efficient and accountable way. In the last 10 years of the Pension Corporation, I'm particularly proud of what we succeeded there. So I have a very deep understanding about how organizations, particularly public sector organizations, work and where those levers are so that we can make those changes. So the services you want, we can deliver, but we can deliver them in the most effective way possible and thereby keep your tax lifts as low as possible. And that is my commitment to you. Thank you very much.
Basil Langevin.
You've heard a lot of different visions for the future of Saanich this afternoon. But one thing is clear. In order to achieve any of them, we'll have to work together. Knowing my colleagues on this stage, I'm confident that your next Saanich Council will be a collaborative body that listens, that works hard to find the right solutions for your community. And now, the choice is up to you. What do you want your future to look like? What do you want the future of your children and your grandchildren to look like? My name is Basil Langevin, and I hope to be part of it. Thank you.
Gregory Mette.
I'll close once again by thanking everyone that's attending here and vicariously. I'd like to thank the organizers as well as putting on this event. It's very important to have that public discourse. I think it's very healthy for our democracy. And I would also like to commend all of my fellow candidates for their courage and their commitment to serve you on council. As I spoke at the beginning, it really comes down to 3 issues for this election. It's going to be experience, commitment, and value for tax dollars. One thing that I haven't mentioned so far is that I've also committed to everyone that I've met, and I've been to 6,917 homes as of today, that I only serve 1 term as your councillor if elected. And the reason for that is I believe that the importance of democracy includes a refresh of ideas. People that stay in a position too long become defensive of old decisions and protective of old policies. So be careful of that. Thank you.
Mark Neufeld.
I wish I could show my students this room because it would help them believe that democracy works. This is democracy working. I run an Institute for Global Solutions. I've thought for years and years and years about what it looks like to move us forward in a way that really serves our children. I was in Uganda, in a town called Kampala, their capital city, and there I was starting a nonprofit association, and the name we came up with was Community Earth Project. And that work has kind of been my life's work. I love collaborating with people in the community. There are people in here I have collaborated with. I would love the opportunity to serve you not only as a teacher, because I want to continue to do that work part-time, but also as a counselor, so I can have a more official voice. Thank you for your time, and thank you for helping us believe in democracy.
Colin Plant.
Thank you to all the volunteers who made today happen. I made a joke on my first time speaking about speed dating. And so if you allow me to continue that silly metaphor, it's time to go home and do your research about me. Please go to colinplant.com, colinplant.ca. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on Twitter. Heck, give me a phone call. It's on my brochure. I'm happy to talk to you. And that's the key. I am available to the residents of Saanich to explain what I do and why I do it. We're not always going to agree on everything. That's normal. And I will always explain why. I am indebted to my grandparents for instilling in me the ideas of being firm, fair, and friendly. And it's how I operate as a counselor. I hope you will allow me to continue to serve you. So please vote Colin Plant for council and CRD on October 15th and early voting.
Jordan Reichert.
Hello, my name is Jordan Reichert again, and the first thing I'll say is a good reason not to vote for me is that I'm the best dressed candidate. A reason to vote for me, though, is that I've been a healthcare worker for 15 years, helping people with mental health and addiction issues. And caring for people starts with listening. When somebody comes to you and tells you what's happening for them, you have to listen to help. Just like it's our job as counselors to listen to you and find out what's going on. It's not about us. And yet 8 of us, 9 of us have to work together to serve you and your interests in the community. My values are honesty, compassion, and accountability. If you share those values, please vote for me October 15th. Thank you.
Nina Westhaver.
Hello, I am a new candidate this term, but I'm not new to community. I have been involved in community, doing projects where I've heard the word can't, and I've proven that we can. So please do check out my website at mena4saanich.ca. I was also a surprise on the list, and many people didn't expect it and asked me why, and this has always been a goal of mine to serve community at a larger scale, once my children were older and once I was older. And then all of a sudden I realized I was older. So I put my foot in and I'm ready for this next challenge. This is what you can expect from me. I am someone that will say, I don't know something when I don't know it. If I don't know you, I will make a point of getting to know you. If I don't know how something is done, I will take the time to learn it from those that know how to teach me. If I don't know where, I will look and find it. Last but not least, I'm on the bottom of the ballot list, but please, I ask you to keep me top of mind on October 15th. Thank you.
Let's express our collective appreciation for this. This concludes the portion of our meeting which is devoted to the candidates for Municipal Council. And we'll take just a very short stretch break here for 1 minute, and then we'll reconvene with the candidates for the position of mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to turn off that. Another thing, it still says on my for your like details. Like at your message at the top, which one says like what? Oh well, too late. No, but like for I'll change that. Yeah, good call. Good catch. All right, cool. Thanks, bud.
Keep it in water. Like 20 feet down, you see it hit the water, you see it current.
The sun was moving off it.
Yeah, the sun was moving up. So now we got no feet, that's what we'll do. But it takes like next year to get up there. It takes that long, right? It's just funny you brought it up 2 days ago. Well, that's why he's got some scars on his head. He's very durable. He's not very durable solid. Different character.
Okay, we're ready to reconvene. We now enter the portion of our meeting which is devoted to the mayoral candidates. And I'd like to introduce to you Dean Murdock and Fred Haynes. And I'm going to give them an opportunity. They will have 2 minutes to give their opening statement, and we have devoted microphones for each one of them, and so they can position them for their height if they wish. But you have 2 minutes, and we'll begin with Mr. Murdock. If you would give us your opening statement, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. Thanks to the organizers for this terrific event. I've enjoyed hearing answers from the council candidates this afternoon, and I look forward to answering questions this afternoon. My name is Dean Murdock, and I'm running to be your mayor. I'm running because I love Saanich. And for the last year, I've met with thousands of Saanich residents who love it too, but they fear that what they love is slipping away. I'm running so that our kids and our grandkids have a future in Saanich, a home they can afford, a neighborhood where they can get around safely, and a healthy environment. The challenges that we're facing are serious and urgent. We can't solve them if we're divided. People expect leaders to work together and to listen. It's not enough to simply talk about housing affordability, climate action, and road safety. Saanich needs leadership that can move to results. During my 3 terms on council, I learned what it takes to bring people together and find common ground. As your mayor, unity will be my priority. We'll restore trust in decision-making and find solutions that work for everyone. I'm Dean Murdock, and I'm asking for your vote. Please elect Dean Murdock, Saanich Mayor, on October 15th.
Mr. Haynes, would you bring your opening remark?
Hello, thank you all for being here. I'm Fred Haynes, and it's been my honour to serve as your mayor. These past 4 years, I've proven I can work with and lead a diverse council of 9 strong, independent minds where the issues are thoroughly debated. Open and transparent processes, including public input, have been the cornerstone of our work. I want to thank council for their commitment, vision, passion, and integrity. Despite the pandemic, we've delivered innovative, award-winning solutions on climate action, environment, housing, safety, business development, tax control, and more, by bringing together incredible community talent, vision, and passion. Of course, there's more to do. There always will be. My background as an educator, PhD in medical research, deep community roots, and an entrepreneur provides unique skills that have enabled proven leadership. People tell me that my leadership style is a convener and catalyst. I bring people together in a way that delivers results. This is a job application, so please check my references. What others have to say about me is not nearly as important as what I say about what others say about me. Huge cross-section of Saanich is endorsing Haynes for mayor. My brochure and online, you will see testimonials from those I've worked with. Environmentalists like Trevor Hancock and Dorothy Chambers, eco-advocates who've endorsed me as the climate champion, medical groups on my work bringing doctors, Scott Green, past police chief, Sherry Bell, past president of Camosun, sports groups, daycare providers, and others support my re-election. I'm asking for the privilege of a second term as your mayor. I will continue to deliver on housing, climate action, protection of our environment, safety, livability, and strengthen our local economy. This will create a vibrant, sustainable, safe, and affordable Saanich for us all. Please re-elect your proven candidate, Vote Haynes for mayor.
I'm going to ask now both candidates to their respective microphones, and each candidate will be given an opportunity to ask the other candidate questions. And we will begin with Mr. Haynes. You have the opportunity of asking Mr. Murdock a question, and then he will respond. You will have 30 seconds to ask the question, and Mr. Murdock will be given 1.5 minutes to respond, and then you will have an opportunity, given 1 minute, to comment on his response. So please ask your question.
The last 4 years, we've developed award-winning strategies that have been recognised across the province and, in fact, Canada on housing, the environment, climate action, and economic renewal. Dean, if you were elected mayor, would you execute those plans, throw them out and build your own? Or would you work on building the projects that we've already created?
It's a great question, and by the way, I recommend to everybody for your own cardiovascular workout that you put yourself through this kind of Q&A in front of 500 people. It is a good question, and I commend the Saanich planning staff who have developed terrific plans. What I would do is work towards implementation and action, working together with the newly elected council on the priorities and vision that are set out in those plans to make sure that we can deliver results. It's not enough to simply stack up those plans and put them on the shelf for 14 years before we get around to implementing them. We need action. We need to ensure that we're delivering on that vision of creating a more affordable, a safer place, and a healthier natural environment here in Saanich. So I look forward to the opportunity to delivering on those plans, because I think they do create a great vision, and I commend the terrific folks, including Saanich staff, who were involved, and all the members of our community here, who were involved in putting those together. Now it's time to move past talking and into action.
In rebuttal, the housing plan was actually developed in consultation with a massive task force across Saanich. It was not a staff plan. It was then acted on by council to implement it. We're putting forward full resources with a new director of planning, staff hirings, more IT. We are delivering on all these actions. And the same goes for the environmental and climate work. Much of that came from this brilliant council at their committees. That came to council for approval. This is the work of your council, together with staff and the community. And I promise you, we're delivering it as fast as we humanly can.
Mr. Murdock, you now have an opportunity to ask Mr. Haynes your question, your first question.
About a year ago, the CAO was fired. It cost Saanich taxpayers about $600,000. And at the time, Mr. Haynes, you said it was so Saanich could go in a new direction. We've seen no evidence of what that direction change is. What I'd like to know is, if you're still not getting the results, do you plan on firing the next CAO as well?
Thank you. Great question. I appreciate the direction you're taking this. When you were on council, you actually approved previous contracts with the CAOs, which were term unlimited with a payout. You did that twice. When we were first on council in my first week, you, along with council, considered to terminate the then CEO and give him a payout. You were the architect of the current contract with Mr. Fulkerson. What I've done as mayor is our current CEO is on a term time limited contract. At the end of that, there is no payout. If he has merit, council will reconsider his application for permanency. As chair of the police board, there used to be term unlimited on police chiefs. That's now contract by years. Scott Green was 3 years with no payout. Dean Duffy is 4 years, again with no payout. And if the staff are working well, if the delivery is coming, they will be renewed. My sense is that the current CEO is brilliant. And we're delivering more action than ever before in the history of Saanich. And I'm very proud of the work that this council did in selecting him and the work that he's delivering out meeting with the community on everyone's behalf.
It's too bad that new direction cost us over $500,000. In my view, adults can get together to get the job done. I think that the new CAO, the interim CAO, is very effective, and I look forward to working with him on delivering results. But I can tell you this, I will not be firing people because I'm not able to get results delivered. I plan on working together. Well, it's a fun misdirection, the use of you, when you were also at that table with me. In fact, I think you made the motion on awarding the contract to Mr.
You breached
Fulkerson.
in-camera confidentiality by speaking out of turn.
And yet you just said the same thing about me.
I said you were on council at the time.
Just like you. Well, you wanted a debate. Here we go.
Mr. Haynes, you have an opportunity to ask your second question.
It's a delight to stand in front of you with some of the symbols of the great work this council has done. In 2001, we were recognised as being open for business for the economic renewal programme that we were delivering and have executed on. I'm asking the question, not answering, right? Okay, so my question is to Dean, given the amazing work we're doing on economic renewal to expand our income base to have less taxes on residents and more on the economic space, would you continue to execute our economic renewal plan so we can shift from 78% of taxes on homes to far less and reduce the tax pressure on our residents?
Well, look, the solutions that council has are quite simple. Exclusively within our purview are zoning and infrastructure. And the greatest thing we can do in terms of economic development happens through zoning. We can create more commercial opportunities. We can create more multifamily residential opportunities that generates additional revenue. If we are interested in growing our tax base, we have the powers as a council to do that in consultation with community. And I believe that one of the things I hear from people is that they love to see economic activity in terms of local businesses, thriving local businesses. So why can't we update our zoning so that we can allow for corner stores, cafes, even doctor's offices, especially if they come with the doctor, within walking distance from our home? I feel that is what I hear from people is the strongest way we can support a thriving local economy, creating good paying jobs right here in our community, in the neighborhoods where we live.
So once again, you're talking about executing this plan that council has brought forward with its working groups. On economic renewal, I'm the architect of bringing a movie studio, expanding our medtech opportunity, food trucks, the whiskey distillery. There's numerous of them. I have a 30-year background in economic development in the publishing space on renewable energy, local food, and healthcare. This has been expressed this term. Dean, in his 3 terms on council, did not do one item on economic renewal. That's the difference between us. I understand the problems, he may understand them too, but I work on fixing them. Thank you.
Mr. Murdock, you have an opportunity to ask your final question to Mr. Haynes.
So many I statements coming today, and yet it's only possible for council to work together as a team. Saanich employees recently voted 94% in favor of job action to strike. It's the first time in Saanich history that the employees will be striking. Saanich currently has the highest job vacancy numbers in the province. It has the lowest job satisfaction ratings on Vancouver Island. When I was elected to council, staff used to refer to it as the Saanich family. Now people are leaving the organization, and we can't recruit new ones. What does it say about your leadership that this is happening under your watch?
Good question. I see where you're trying to take this. As a mayor, we have what we call a weak mayor system. All the decisions are based on a majority will of council. This term, there have been more unanimous votes, 8-1, 7-2 votes, than in the history of Saanich, showing that as a council, we can work together. As I said, as mayor, I work with my council. In terms of Saanich as large, people know from COVID and across the industry, we see BCGEU, which Dean is a member of, are on threatening strike, they're trying to settle. The CUPE are struggling with the cost of living. Of course there's labour unrest, but we're committed to solving that and working with our amazing staff for a better future. As chair of the police board, which I've gone on for 4 years, it's a department, we just received top in province 100 employer. The first time ever, with high morale, high recruitment, great staffing. We have moved Saanich as a corporation into that same process, that as we go forward, I hope Saanich will be regarded as a top employer in BC. And that means respecting our workforce. It is the job of the union leadership to challenge and get better benefits, get better wages as they deal with inflation and those other costs that we're all aware of. This is not unusual, it's very natural, and I would say it's actually healthy that we're having this debate with our staff.
It's not a debate. It's job action over dissatisfaction with the workplace and the employer.
As a union member, you might say that.
It's the so fighting for working people means that I'm at somehow biased?
No, you're saying...
What I'm saying is, instead of firing the CAO, I would be working with the CAO as mayor, along with my council, and encouraging them to work within the organization, to find out from the staff who deliver results, who work every day with the people of Saanich, to find out how we can make their job better. What is it about delivering services that are creating barriers for people? How do we improve services for Saanich residents and at the same time ensure that they love coming to work every day? That's the job of leadership. That's what mayor and council should be doing to improve the organization and once again make it a Saanich family where people love coming to work.
Regarding the CAO, the mayor can't fire anybody. It's a council decision, and it's surprising that my colleague doesn't remember that.
We're going to move now to our closing statements, and each mayoral candidate is given 2 minutes to make a closing statement, and we'll begin with Mr. Murdock.
Thanks so much. These are tough situations because my mom told me if you don't have a kind thing to say about somebody, it's probably best to keep your mouth shut. I regret that this had a negative tone. I'm not a negative person. In fact, I'm very optimistic about Saanich's future. And I think that you all are too. And that's why you're here to hear from us. Normally I close by saying, most people ask me the difference between the two of us, but I think perhaps after this exchange it may be a little clearer. To me, it comes down to leadership and trust. Trust that your elected officials have got your back. And leadership that can work together with community and council to get us through this new era of challenges that we're facing, with eyes fixed firmly on a stronger future for our kids and our grandkids. It's a new era that demands leadership that unites us, leadership that listens, leadership you can trust. It's not enough to just talk about housing affordability, road safety, and climate. Leadership is about more than just holding up a plan as if that's mission accomplished. Saanich needs leadership that can move us from planning to action and delivering results that make life better for everyone in Saanich. I'm Dean Murdock, and I'm ready to be that leader. I'm running to be your mayor. I'm Dean Murdock, and I'm asking for your vote on October 15th. Please elect me your Saanich mayor. Thanks so much for being here.
Mr. Haynes, your closing statement.
Thank you, and thank you, Dean, for the debate. As mayor, I want to say this has been a remarkable council. 4 years ago, you elected 9 independent members, and they served you with integrity, passion, and action. These past 4 years, I've proven I can lead and work as such a diverse council. Open and transparent processes, including public input, have been the cornerstone of our work on your behalf. I want to thank council for their integrity, passion, and vision on your behalf. Despite the pandemic, we've delivered innovative, award-winning solutions and action. We've built more road safety improvements than in the history of Saanich. We've built more housing of different types than in the history of Saanich. We have an IT audit which has identified 1.5 million hack attempts a day, every day in Saanich, and we put security on that. We're using IT to facilitate our ability to go forward for action. For the first time, we spent $36 million to have an IT framework that lets us move more nimbly in all the actions we do. Previously, we were a paper-based corporation. And once again, with the KPMG audit to find out where the flaws were, we were told, actually, one of the worst in BC, you've got to fix your game. That's all been behind the scenes. Those are real, genuine actions we've taken. My background as an educator, PhD in medical research, deep community roots, and an entrepreneur provides this proven skill set that I've tried to deliver as your mayor. People tell me I'm a convener and a catalyst, and I bring people in a way that delivers results. This is a job application, as I said, so please check my references. It's not what I say about myself or what Dean says about me, it's what others say about me. And a huge cross-section of Saanich is endorsing Haynes as mayor. On my brochure online, you will see endorsements by eco-advocates as a climate champion, environmentalists like Trevor Barry, Dorothy Chambers, medical groups, and others for my work bringing great assets to Saanich. I'm asking for the privilege of a second term as your mayor. I will continue to deliver on housing, climate action, protection, and environment, and deliver a vibrant and sustainable and affordable Saanich for us all. Please, re-elect your proven candidate. vote Haynes for mayor. I will never let you down.
Let's express our appreciation to these two candidates. My thanks to all of the candidates who participated in this afternoon's meeting. And we want to thank all of you for showing up to this meeting. Just one reminder, if you would like to